finish a chapter and then you realize you remember almost nothing. The words were there. You scanned them with your eyes. But once you close the chapter, as if you didn't read them. By the way, good reads. I'm kidding. There's a way to remember almost everything you read. In this video, I'm gonna explain everything by science. Encoding, the first step in memory consolidation. Memory formation begins with something called encoding. It's the process through which sensory input coming in will be converted in a way and will be constructed in a way for you to comprehend it. And then it will be stored in the brain. And when reading, this involves certain areas inside of your brain. The hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, and the visual word form area. And how to enhance your encoding? It's by attention. The more attention and focus you give to what you're reading, the more these areas will be highlighted. So obviously, skimming through a chapter or reading passively is not going to help you here. So to optimize encoding, it's extremely important for you to eliminate distraction. This is somehow obvious and common, but you didn't know that it can interfere with the encoding process of the brain. As simple as turning off notifications is going to help you and help your brain be more active, attentive, and focused. So in that way, the encoding process will be much more important and developed. So you will be remembering this info for longer term. Number 2, levels of processing framework. According to the levels of processing framework theory, the depth at which information is processed affects how well it is remembered. Deep processing leads to more durable memory traces than shallow processing. This is different than encoding. Processing means interacting with the information, trying to analyze, integrate it into the bigger picture, try to link things together. So whenever you read something, try to talk to this new info, try to interact. Maybe you can challenge this new idea, but in that way, you are forcing your brain to be more active with this new piece of information. So a simple question you can do whenever you read something new, ask yourself, what does it mean? Instead of what did I just read? Number 3, dual coding theory. Memory is enhanced when it is encoded in both ways, visually and verbally. When reading a textbook or article, integrating visual representations like diagrams, flowcharts, mental imagery engages additional neural pathways, in particular the occipital lobe, aiding in stronger recalls through something called associative links. So whenever I'm studying something difficult, I usually do my own flowcharts and diagrams. I even try to make this new subject into a presentation as if I am building a new PowerPoint or presentation to someone, as if I'm going to present it to an audience. But in fact, there's no audience. I do it for myself, especially when I'm studying something a bit tricky and difficult. I try to make it as encoded as possible, like visually, verbally, in a way to engage more with this subject. So in simpler terms, you can convert the written words into a flowchart. Number 4, the role of retrieval practice and the testing effect. I've talked about this in many videos. We know by now that just rereading the information is not gonna improve your memory by much. There are proven ways and techniques like retrieval practice, testing yourself, asking questions about this new subject and trying to answer the questions without looking at the information, trying to recall it from memory, is gonna enhance a lot the neural connections that you are trying to create about this new subject. This is known as the testing effect, as proven by Roediger and Karpike in 2006. So rather than just highlighting the important points, quiz yourself. Every chapter, put a small set of questions and try to answer these questions. You're going to be amazed by how much you don't know this chapter that you've just read. And this testing effect in itself is going to help you remember and memorize the information in that chapter. Number 5, spaced repetition and the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve describes how memory fades with time. So spaced repetition, repeating the exposure to this information in a calculated way, is gonna help you straighten that forgetting curve. So you will not forget a lot of information with time. So repeating exposure or even testing yourself in a timely manner is going to help you have and retain this information for long term. Spaced repetition leverages optimal intervals between reviews to interrupt forgetting and reinforce neural pathways, primarily within the hippocampal neocortical system. Personally, I use spaced repetition softwares like this application called Anki, A-N-K-I. You can do it manually. You can build like a schedule where you repetitively repeat this information. A small tip, it should be at an increasing interval, like for example, after 1 day, after 3 days, after a week, after a month, so on and so forth. Number 6 is context-dependent memory. Memory recall is enhanced when the encoding environment matches the retrieval environment. This is rooted in the episodic memory, which involves encoding the situation where you are being exposed to this information, the context, for example, emotions, the place, the location, the time, even background sounds via the parahippocampal cortex. So practical implication here is to study in an environment that might be similar to where you might need this information later on. So if you want to just pass an exam, try to study probably in your university or at the college site, where you can try to mimic the environment of an exam. Or if you are a doctor and you want to use this information on the bedside, try to study at the hospital, where you might be interrupted multiple times and you can hear the sound of the hospital and the beepers and everything. Number 7, interleaved practice over massed practice. We usually think that massed repetition or massed practice, like cramming, is superior to any other practice because we are being bombarded and exposed to the same info over and over again. But studies show differently. Interleaving means switching from one topic to the other and putting yourself in some awkward or uncomfortable situation in terms of being exposed to this new information where you're not that good at, to your weaknesses, to your weak points, and not your strength, will in fact enhance your long-term memory. Why? Because it's encouraging discrimination and application. So your brain can juggle between information and subjects very quickly. This exploits cognitive conflict and forces your prefrontal cortex to work harder. In that way, you are deepening your learning. Practical implication here, don't study just one subject over and over again. And don't study it all at once. Mix it up. Read biology, philosophy, literature, you name it. Number 8 is elaborative interrogation. This technique reminds me of my little nieces and nephews. They always ask why. Infinitely. Asking why repeatedly will help you connect more with the knowledge, because this will enhance your understanding of the subject you're reading. Moreover, this will help you connect the dots between the new stuff you're reading and the old information that you already know. So asking why repeatedly will help you make this link, and in that way will make this new information somehow integrated in your memory. This process is known as associative activation. So, as simple as it might sound, after reading a subject, just ask why is it true or why it's not true. Number 9, sleep and memory consolidation. Sleep plays a crucial role. It's the number 1 nutrient for memory. Do you know that transferring information from the short-term memory to the long-term memory happens during your sleep, specifically via the slow waves sleep during your REM sleep phase? Because during this time, your brain, specifically your hippocampus, replays this new information or knowledge you've acquired during the day. And this will help your brain to transfer the information from the short term to the long term. So never pull an all-nighter. And sleep before the exam, sleep after learning new information is going to help you much more than you think. Finally, number 10, the role of emotion and motivation in memory. Emotionally charged material are more likely to stuck in your brain for long term because emotions activate a part of the brain, very specifically the amygdala. In itself, it can modulate memory consolidation. So a practical implication, connect emotionally with the material related to your goals, maybe to your future, your career, or even to an event that had like a strong emotional impact on you. In medicine, this can be very easily reproduced. In summary, I'm going to give you these 10 points. Read with focused attention, engage in deep, meaningful processing, use dual coding, regularly test yourself, space out your review sessions, study in environments similar to the test or application, interleave different subjects, ask why, get quality sleep, link reading to your emotional or life goals. That was a quick video. I'm sure you're gonna benefit from it. If you wanna become an A student without buying any course, I suggest you read these 2 books over here. See you next time.